Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for October the 15th of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams, and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know. So if you enjoy the show and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. Now today we are talking about the newest update to hit PlayStation 4, which did introduce a lot of problems actually you might want to wait before updating, but one of the biggest concerns was around privacy. People thought PlayStation was going to be recording voice chats, and it seems that is not the case. Yesterday, a new software update for the PS4 became available, bringing the software to version 8.0 and getting PS5 ready. But after downloading the update, players started airing concerns about a new prompt. These concerns were due to notifications stating that voice chats may be recorded, with users assuming it meant PlayStation was recording them, and by simply participating in a voice chat, players consent to being recorded. It turns out that is not entirely the case. The 8.0 update saw changes to the Party and Messages feature, stating that you'll be able to start a party chat or send a message to the group you've previously chatted with across PS4 as well as PS5 when it launches. However, two types of on-screen notifications seem to spark concerns that Sony Interactive Entertainment would be recording voice chats for moderation purposes all the time. One notification seems to be in a small pop-up that reads, "Voice chats may be recorded for moderation. By joining, you agree to being recorded." Another was a full-screen wall of text that notes that by participating in voice chats, you agree to your voice being recorded and that those recordings will be used only for safety and moderation purposes and may be recorded and sent to us by other users. With concerns about privacy, Sony updated its blog post to clarify what this means. It details that voice chat recording for moderation is a feature that will be available on PS5 when it launches, and when it does go live, it will let users to record their voice chats on PS5 and submit them for moderation review. Those seeing the pop-up notification on PlayStation 4 consoles are actually being told that when you participate in a chat with a PS5 user post-launch, they may submit those recordings from their PS5 console to SIE. So for those who may have been under the impression that Sony Interactive Entertainment would be recording their voice chats all the time, that's not what's happening. Of course, the PS5 is due to be launching next month on November the 12th of 2020. Right off the bat, this is not something that is new. Xbox has been doing this for a number of years, and so if anything, now Sony is trying to attain some kind of level of parity with the Microsoft team that is working on Xbox. And so, on top of that, I don't think this is really a bad addition, and I'll tell you why. They don't want the person that's making a joke about somebody's mother in a Modern Warfare chat. They don't want somebody that's just trash talking on PlayStation Network. They're going after the people that are truly malicious. We're talking about people that are legitimately harassing other players. We're talking about people that are making threats, real threats. We're talking about people that are grooming children. There are legitimate concerns about all three of those and so much more in the gaming space, and it's important that the powers that be put tools in place that can help fight that. Because that's what keeps gaming a safe place for all players to come and play. And I know that having that term safe place thrown around feels very PC and it feels very 2020, but it's not. It legitimately is something that everybody can enjoy because at the end of the day, we all want to come together and enjoy playing a game. We want to jump into a lobby, have a few good rounds, have some laughs, poke fun at each other, and then go to bed. That's ultimately what the goal is. Go to bed, probably optional, but that's beside the point. I go back to something that my mom always used to tell me whenever I first got my driver's license, and I said, whoa, what if I get a speeding ticket? What if I get pulled over? For anything, whatever it might be? And she said, Sam, if you're not doing anything wrong, then you don't have anything to worry about. So, if you are concerned about the fact that you could potentially be recorded on PlayStation voice chat, then you might want to reconsider the things that you're saying over PlayStation voice chat. Just a thought, just throwing that one out there. Gonna let that one simmer, but of course, you will be able to look forward to agreeing to this if you do plan on using Party Chat on the PlayStation 5 whenever it launches in just a few weeks. Now, speaking of the PlayStation 5, the large fan is the reason for the console's size, according to the engineer. It could have been smaller, but it would have been costly and difficult, the designer claims. At more than 15 inches wide, the PlayStation 5 hardware is Sony's biggest console to date and significantly larger than even its next-gen rival, the Xbox Series X. At 45mm tall, even the PlayStation 5's cooling fan is thicker than a standard PlayStation 4, as demonstrated in an official PlayStation 5 teardown video last week. According to a new article on Nikai's X-Tech, a Japanese website, this is a cooling solution which has ultimately determined the overall size of the PlayStation 5 console. Otori Yasuhiro, the head of PlayStation 5's mechanical and thermal design team, explained in an interview with the publication that a large fan was required in order to cool both sides of PlayStation 5 console's main board equally. The engineer claimed that the PlayStation 5 console could have been smaller in size if Sony had opted to install two smaller cooling fans instead, one for each side of the console. However, controlling multiple fans would be more difficult than the current design, and it would also have increased the manufacturing cost of the hardware. It was possible to develop the PlayStation 5 to be smaller, for example by implementing two cooling fans, one for side A and side B. The PlayStation 5 size would have been reduced, Yasuhiro said. However, there is naturally an additional cost associated with having two fans. Additionally, controlling the functionality of two fans is more difficult than just one. With these additional obstacles in mind, we decided to cool both sides of the main board with one large fan. Recent hands-on previews in Japan reserved particular praise for the PlayStation 5's cooling system and expressed surprise at how quietly it operates compared to PlayStation 4. Dengeki said, quote, "The quietness of the fans was more impressive than the loading times, while 4Gamer was similarly impressed. I started playing one of the launch titles, Godfall, and after some time passed, I checked the temperature. The breeze as coming from the exhaust port was gentle and did not feel exceedingly hot," it wrote. As previously mentioned, the breeze from the exhaust port was light and I could barely hear what I believed to have been a fan rotation, it added. Low operation noise is clearly something Microsoft and Sony have prioritized for their next-gen consoles, as the Xbox Series X has also been praised for its quiet cooling system. According to a Bloomberg report from earlier this year, Sony had implemented an unusually expensive cooling system in PlayStation 5, something which the platform holder had itself previously hinted at. Speaking in a PS5 hardware video earlier this year, system architect Mark Cerny first revealed PlayStation 5 would feature a high-performance cooling solution. However, Cerny would not share exact details of PlayStation 5's cooling solution, only stating that he felt users would be happy with what the engineering team came up with. And of course, again, the PS5 launches in November on the 12th in the US, Japan, Canada, Mexico, Australia, and South Korea, and the rest of the world will come a week later on November the 19th for $500 and $400 for the physical and digital editions respectively. So ultimately, this is just a fun fact. The PlayStation 5 is huge. Now, my question here is looking forward to the PlayStation 5 Pro, will they implement two different fans? Because there is kind of a new expectation. Whenever the PlayStation 4 launched, it was $400. When the PS4 Pro came out, it was a little bit more expensive. And so if you look to that and you say, could you potentially make that thinner option a reality? And could we potentially boost the performance of the console a bit by having enhanced cooling? You throw a couple of new components in there and boom, you've got something that's even more impressive than the current version of the console. That could be the route towards the PlayStation 5 Pro. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. But ultimately, one console at a time. If you wondered why the PlayStation 5 was huge, you now know it is because of the cooling fan. Now, when you're playing Spider-Man Miles Morales this coming holiday season, whether you're on PS4 or PS5, you can carry Spider-Cat around in your backpack. I am so excited. Who cares if you can pet the dog? It turns out the question we should have been asking all along is, can you backpack the cat? And Spider-Man Miles Morales answers with an emphatic yes. Today's revelation comes via a new Spider-Man Miles Morales gameplay trailer shared by Game Informer, which demos Miles' acquisition of the aforementioned cat backpack. More specifically, it's a backpack designed to accommodate Spider-Cat, the mask-wearing, crime-fighting, and an Insomniac Games rendition, extremely adorable feline, who the internet tells me served as the alternative Spidey of Earth $9.99 in the I don't know what all this nerd stuff is, but ultimately there's a cat in a backpack with a mask on. And if the mere presence of a furry companion in Spider-Man Miles Morales is still somehow not enough to make the whole thing worthwhile, Spider-Cat also offers support during battle, launching out of his backpack to take a vicious swipe at villains. You can see Spider-Cat in action in the video above and can, of course, see even more of Spider-Cat when Miles Morales comes to PS4 and PS5 this November. So if you were curious as to what this actually looked like, of course, the screen is cropped a bit on the YouTube video here, but here is Spider-Cat just hanging out in its little backpack. And so the backstory behind this is that in a side mission, you go to essentially get the money back from a bodega that has just been robbed. And you find that the bodega cat was also taken. So essentially, you have this bodega cat that you return to its owner, and then it pops up and you have this cool little endearing moment with the owner of the cat. And so then, all of a sudden, you start suiting up, and this is an alternative suit where you have a spider cat in a backpack with a badass hoodie on, which I really hope they sell after the game launches. And so then it just attacks your enemies. What is this madness? I am so happy about this. This is thrilling to me. But ultimately, of course, if you're not into cats or Spider-Man, this is probably a minor story. But as somebody who adores Spider-Man and loves cats, ooh, this one's right up my alley. Now, of course, that is one of the big games coming out on the PlayStation 5 this holiday season, but Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford is showing off the first PS5 retail game, and he does in fact look like Sweaty Papa John, who ate 30 pizzas, or 40 pizzas in 30 days, whatever it was. What a weird looking dude. Just a strange man. I'm sure he's great though, hypothetically. We've all heard things. But Gearbox Chief Executive Randy Pitchford was showing off what he's claimed is the first to manufacture next-gen retail game in the world. Godfall is being published by the Borderlands studio for the PlayStation 5 and PC next month, and is Gearbox Publishing's most high-profile release since its formation in 2016. Developed by Counterplay Games, the fantasy looter slasher became the first officially announced PlayStation 5 game when it was unveiled at the Game Awards in December. The Godfall development team is comprised of around 75 people with experience working on the Ratchet & Clank series, God of War, Destiny 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, Overwatch, and more. Pitchford wrote on Wednesday, "Attention fellow game lovers, peers, and enthusiasts, behold the first PlayStation 5 game. Hot off the presses, this is the first to manufacture next-gen retail game in the world. Congratulations to Counterplay Games and the team here at Gearbox Publishing." And so there you have it, a couple of pictures of the first box. It is the first gift of Christmas, as they say on the Polar Express. It was recently confirmed that Godfall will require an internet connection to play, despite the game being fully playable without other players. As seen in Pitchford's images, the game's box even features a no offline mode badge. Counterplay has also labeled speculation that the game will run at 4K native at 120 FPS incorrect. Ooh. Performance QA and optimization is often the last step of development ahead of launch, and that tuning is ongoing for us, it said. We'll share real numbers when that work concludes. Selected Japanese YouTube content creators live stream PS5 gameplay this month, including Godfall, and you can watch all of the videos on their page. So there it is. It is the first game that is hitting the presses and hitting store shelves soon. Of course, it feels very strange to know that we are now literally halfway through October and these games are just now getting printed. I don't know if this is disingenuous from Randy Pitchford. I'm not sure what's going on the back end, but it feels like there should be more. It feels like these games should probably be, at least en route to the stores. At this point, I don't know, it's a little stressful for me, but of course I don't know the back end of all of this, so I'm sure this is very natural, I'm sure it's very fine. But if you were curious as to what the first game is going to be, it looks like this Ascended edition of Godfall is number 1. Now, looking forward to what is to come in the next generation, BioShock Director's next game, a sci-fi immersive shooter, is in later stages of production, and of course that is Ken Levine's small team at work. It has been a while since we last heard anything from Ghost Story Games, the small team from BioShock's Ken Levine. A year ago, we learned that through a job ad that the game is an immersive sim with FPS and RPG elements. Now, in another job ad, this time for a senior producer, we have gotten a little more insight into the Under Wraps project. The studio, which is currently made up of fewer than 35 people, is still working on a new immersive sci-fi game with RPG elements. They note that details have not yet been announced, but the game is in later stages of production. The studio was first formed in 2017, so this first game has likely been in the works for some time now. The job ad also gives some insight into how their studio operates. We are known for having genuine open communication with a flat structure, it says. You're welcome to join any meeting, walk up to, or Slack anyone and have your voice heard. Team-based decision-making is important to us, regardless of your position. Every opinion counts and matters. The ad also suggests that watching Ken Levine's 2014 GDC talk for some more insight into what they are trying to do with the game might help you out. This is not a lot to go on, admittedly, but it sounds like the new game has not drastically changed direction since we last heard about it. It is still a sci-fi immersive sim with FPS and RPG elements, and over at Developer Cloud Chamber there is a new BioShock currently in the works. It is likely still a few years away from release and will not involve Levine, which is kind of a bummer, but hey, we'll see what happens with it. This is a big one. Of course, Ken Levine, very important individual in the gaming space, and BioShock is one of the defining games of the 7th generation of consoles, and really the remasters were a big part of the 8th generation, which is what we're currently in now with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox. Or I should say Xbox One. And so, looking forward to what they have. I'm excited to see what this FPS with RPG elements, big fan of sci-fi stuff. Looking forward to whatever the Levine team is coming up with. Now, a follow-up story to yesterday's news, Microsoft is extending the Xbox Elite 2 controller warranty after hardware issues emerge. It has been extended from 90 days to an entire year. Microsoft is extending the warranty on its Xbox Elite 2 controller following complaints over hardware issues. Quote, "We've received claims that a small percentage of our customers are experiencing mechanical issues when using their Xbox Elite Wireless Controller Series 2, explains a Microsoft support article. To ensure your satisfaction, we're extending the warranty coverage period on Elite Series 2 controllers from 90 days to 1 year from the date of purchase. The warranty extension applies retroactively, meaning anyone who incurred repair costs for the Xbox Elite 2 controller will be issued a refund by Microsoft before October the 31st. The extended warranty is a welcome change from the measly 90 days, but it comes after a series of complaints from owners of the new Elite controller have emerged. It is not clear from Microsoft's support note the exact mechanical issues people have been facing, but The Verge has received reports of the face buttons getting stuck or the Elite 2 not registering button presses. Some have also raised issues with the left and right sticks, complaining of a drift. Windows Central reports that the Elite 2 was recently added to a list of controllers suffering from drifting Joy-Cons, or I should say joysticks, my bad, I'm used to talking about Nintendo, in a lawsuit seeking class action status. Microsoft told The Verge earlier this year that it was investigating Elite 2 controller problems, as these issues have been occurring since the launch a year ago. We are aware that a small number of users may be experiencing issues with the Elite Wireless Controller Series 2 and are actively investigating with our engineering teams, said a Microsoft spokesperson in a statement issued in April 2020. The original Elite controller was plagued with quality issues, which originally appeared to have been addressed with this second model. We were concerned whether hardware issues would appear again on the Elite 2 during a review of the controller last year, and it's now clear some are having problems. So first and foremost, great that the warranty is extended. Great that they are retroactively applying that to people that have already paid for repairs. Now make sure the controller is fixed. And that's not release Elite Series 3, that's legitimately fix the design of Elite Series 2. Yeah, I don't know how far out the newest version of the controller is going to be, but I would say probably a good ways out. Because with the Elite Series 2, you already have this central share button in the middle, so it seems they were kind of preparing for the future. I would say this is probably going to be a 2021 iteration to come out if we're talking about the Elite 3, but really fix the production issues and then we'll be good to go. But very unfortunate that this is still something people are having issues with. Now, to celebrate and round out today's show, Sega is offering 4 free PC games, including Yakuza-Streets of Rage mashup, for fans to celebrate 60 years of gaming fun. Have you heard? Sega celebrates its 60th birthday this year. That's why there is a Sonic the Hedgehog costume in Fall Guys, and it's why Steam has a raft of free games for you to pick up between Thursday and next Monday. The offerings include Streets of Kamurocho, well, I think I said that correctly, which sounds like Streets of Rage using Yakuza characters. Kiryu and Majima team up to beat 'em up in a very well-rendered 16-bit tribute to both Sega franchises. It is free to download and keep, but only from October 17th to the 19th. Another highlight is Golden Axe, a clever title for the actually cancelled Golden Axe Reborn, which Sega Studios Australia was working on about a decade ago. Golden Axe Reborn was one of several 2.5D remakes planned, which included Altered Beast and Streets of Rage, along with an Endless Runner adaptation of Shinobi. Golden Axe is a single level created as a proof of concept, or what is known in the industry as a vertical slice, Sega says on the game Steam page. Golden Axe may be janky, may be buggy, may be an artifact of its time, but it offers a unique glimpse into the prospect of a project that could have been. Perhaps because of its small size and as is quality, Golden Axe is available for one day only, October the 18th. Until then, you can enjoy the trailer. The other free offerings include Endless Zone, a blend of Amplitude Studios' Endless Universe with Sega's Ancient Fantasy Zone from the arcade and Master System days, which technically gave the company its first mascot, the spaceship Opa Opa. This side-scrolling shoot-'em-up is available from October the 16th to October the 19th. Beginning tomorrow and available through October the 19th, there is Armor of Heroes, a top-down multiplayer tank battle that cribs on Relic Entertainment's long-running Company of Heroes series. Armor of Heroes offers 9 game types, set in 4 maps, with destructible scenery and AI opponents. It's also remote play-together compatible. 3 of the titles are developed by the Eccentric Ape. Streets of Camarucho is developed by Empty Clip, a studio that specializes in retro-style demakes. They did them for Final Fantasy XV and Dead Island 2. Finally, Sega is offering Nights into Dreams over the next 60 days free to Steam users who link their accounts to their email address through Sega's official celebration page. The Sega Saturn title, however, does not come with the massive Saturn 3D controller, an artifact that makes the Duke look like a Joy-Con. So if you want some free titles, go ahead and dive in. I think out of all of these, the one that intrigues me the most is Endless Zone. That sounds like one that is really going to be up my alley personally, just because of my interest. I love these side-scrolling shooters for some reason. Don't know why, but a big fan of them. Always have been, always will be. But very cool to see. And of course, the big one here is absolutely Streets of Camarucho. That is one that a lot of people were like, what? So if you want to get these games for free, dive in, log into Steam over the course of the next few days, and they can be yours. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below and let me know what you thought about everything we talked about here today. But specifically, are you concerned about PlayStation recording your voice chats? And if so, what are you going to do about it? Use Discord, get an Xbox? Would love to hear your thoughts. But until next time, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.